Hello, everyone. It's 1 o'clock. I hope you can hear us. If you can't, type in the chat bar. Welcome to 6 Ways to Know If Your Car Lease is Turn-In Ready. I'll give everybody a minute or so. Oh, we're getting a little feedback. Okay, so we should be good. All right. Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, my name is Lori, and I'm the founder of TitleKeyCash.com, as well as a certified auto appraiser and broker. And I work independently for my clients to make the car buying and selling process simple and painless. And I'm joined here today with my financial expert, Cindy Reinzema. She's the president and CEO of Hamilton Horizons Federal Credit Union and a certified financial counselor and consumer advocate.
And we're here today to help prepare you for your vehicle lease ending. I just want to say too, Lori didn't mention, but she just has her book published, her Girl's Guide to
Car
buying. So welcome to our webinar.
Yes, and if you did not get a chance to download the lease turn-in checklist, you can click the download now button in the offers on the side, and it'll bring you to the sheet, and you can print that out and make notes as we go along. All right, so let's jump right in. And first, we want you to notify the dealer 60 to 90 days in advance. This will give you time to get financially prepared and consider your options for your next vehicle. You can decide if you're going to lease again, or perhaps purchase a different new or used vehicle, or buy your current lease. And you can get out the contract, go over it thoroughly, check for all the fees, as well as the purchase price that you agreed upon at the origination of the lease.
And that's called your residual value.
Yes, correct. So you'll look for that. And also your mileage allowance and any overage fees per mile, which is usually between 15 and 25 cents per mile. And it could be higher if it's a luxury vehicle.
Hopefully you were watching your mileage as your lease has gone on. You should have been aware of that all along, but you should be keeping a close eye on that at this point when you're getting close to the end of your lease.
Yeah, because you can really end up paying a lot for that. Next, you want to schedule an inspection. You want to schedule a vehicle inspection to take place either at your home or your work.
Not at the dealership.
No.
Don't drop it off.
Yes, and you want to make sure that you are there. That's important. Charges will be assessed for any excessive wear and tear they find during this inspection. And, double check your contract just to see if maybe you possibly purchased wear and tear insurance, because it's possible that you did, and then you don't have to worry about nitpicking for all these things. And always have the vehicle professionally detailed prior to the scheduled inspection date, and clean out all your personal belongings, because the inspector will not be able to touch any of your personal stuff, and you just want it to go as smoothly as possible. So get all your things out. Also, go over the vehicle in detail yourself to check for dings, dents, scratches, cracks, any interior stains or damage, and always check the lease company's acceptable wear and tear policy. Usually on their website, they will have a page where it will give you tools and specs on what is acceptable and what isn't.
Yeah, some things are just considered normal wear and tear, but other things they're going to charge you for.
And then the tires.
Right. The tires, you want to check the quality of your tires, the tread depth, and you want to make sure they're exact same brand and size. And some require they're exactly the same brand as they originally had on the car. Yeah. So you have to be careful.
Yes, and they will want a specific tread depth when you return them. Otherwise, you will be responsible for getting new tires. Here's a couple of examples of companies' self-evaluator tools. Everyone is different, but they kind of have a similar standard. That's why I use the credit card method. If you don't have this, just get out a credit card. Usually any scratches or dings or dents that are larger than that are not acceptable. Here's another one, and it gives you the tire tread depth at the bottom. So that's what you would want to stick into the tire. And it would have to be at that line or above. But again, each company will be different.
I think sometimes they use it as the Lincoln penny,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes to Lincoln's nose.
Yeah.
And you can use it, but it has to be the same tread depth all the way around.
Right. Even at the shallowest point of the tire, not
Right.
just the thickest.
Right.
And also take some really good quality pictures and video of the vehicle so you have that documentation. And you can get your own inspection done too. So
Right. We actually have somebody that we've used recently. It's Rico's Auto Body, and they will do a free inspection for you and let you know what needs to get done. They've done enough of them that they know what you're going to get charged for. So if you give them a call, we put the number on the slide here for you. Debbie Tallman is the lady that we work with there, and they'll do it at no charge. Mainly because if you really do have something that you're going to get charged for, you may want to use Rico's to help you get that fixed.
Yeah, and it gives you a you can compare the prices as well and see how
Right.
much you're going to save doing it yourself, or if it's not even worth it, or you can get a better idea of what to fix.
And most times it's worth it for you to get it done outside rather than have the car dealership fix it, because they're going to upcharge you for it.
Right. Also, we want to make repairs. So this is where the inspection report that the leasing company did will give you a list of all the needed repairs as well as the estimated cost to fix them. And you can use this to shop around and compare to your own independent inspection if you got one. So if like Rico's gave you your estimate, you can compare and see what it would cost.
Right. Right. And with windshields, sometimes it's really just the deductible that you have to pay. Your insurance doesn't go up if you have a windshield ding from, like a dump truck's, had a rock or something came on your windshield. You really pay your deductible only, and you can get that corrected, and really just for the deductible amount rather than the entire windshield. So, get those things done ahead of time if you can.
And always keep all of your receipts for everything that you do. And also, according to your lease agreement, some require OEM parts. So you want to make sure that the repair shop you're using does use OEM, and that stands for original equipment manufacturer. So basically, you can't put aftermarket parts onto the car because it won't be acceptable.
You really need to have good records. Receipts of repairs, and then here leads right into our next slide, your maintenance records.
Yes. Keep good records. Keep a log of all your receipts, oil changes, fluid checks, tire rotations, tire replacement, all maintenance and repairs during the time you own the vehicle. And these are also, I believe, in most cases, you are responsible for this. It is in your lease. So if you do not abide by their guidelines for, changing the oil and all the fluids, you will pay at the end. And next, your final checklist. So be turn in ready.
So first, you want to have all of your keys and your remotes, your owner's manual,
original floor mats, the spare tire and the jack, All your headrests, yes, people do take them out and leave them in their garage and not put them back. DVD remotes, headphones,
The wheel locks, which I at one point had to have the wheel locks. I had the wheel locks broken in order to get my tires changed because I didn't even know where it was. So
yeah,
that's
that does
one.
happen a lot.
Yeah,
And any navigation DVD, everything basically exactly the way it was when you drove off with it. Every piece should be in there. Otherwise, you will get charged for it.
you want to have your lease end inspection report and the list of any repairs that you made with the copies of those receipts because you were keeping very good records, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to know how much you're going to need to write a check for at that drop off because obviously if you didn't get every repair done, they're going to charge you something plus your mileage.
And your oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget your fee that's every lease has due at the end, the disposition
The
fee.
disposition fee.
That is going to be on there. So
that's in your paperwork, your original contract. So you should know what that disposition fee is. And that fee runs from what, Lori? It can be anything
like
from
$250 to I don't
be
know.
up to $1,000
Yeah.
even. But you need to know what that is because that can make that may be part of your making a decision whether you want to keep the car or not too.
Yes.
So
you want to know all the fees.
yeah, you want to take your license plates off, and you're going to have to either return them to DMV or if you're going to transfer them to another car, whatever. But you want to make sure that they're off when you turn the car in.
And make sure you don't forget your easy passes, your garage remotes,
Right.
all your personal items.
Yeah.
Because this does happen.
Yeah, my son did that. The garage remote twice.
And because once you leave, it's gone.
Yeah.
So make sure you have everything out. And very important, get documentation before you walk away from the vehicle. Even if they say, that's fine, you dropped it off, you can go. You want something clearing you of the obligations for, mileage, wear and tear, your disposition fee, everything that you've paid up for. So get paperwork before you walk away from the car and leave it.
Right.
And then wave bye-bye to your car. And now, buy versus turn in. Should you buy your lease? Well, you want to find out what the residual value or lease end value is. That will be on your original paperwork. And this is non-negotiable. You agreed upon that price
When you originally leased the car.
Right.
Yeah. And you need to determine the true value of the vehicle because, we go to NADAguides.com. You can look at Edmunds or Kelley Blue Book as well.
And I would suggest too, actually going to a dealership, a few, and seeing what someone would actually pay you for the car because the online valuations can be a little off and you want to be 100% sure that if you drive it in, somebody is going to write you a check for X amount of dollars.
Right.
Or you can call me and I'll tell you what it's worth.
Because Lori really does that.
Yeah.
She's good at that. She's an appraiser. So.
And I would do this if you were planning on keeping it or not. A lot of people walk away and could have gotten cash out of purchasing the car and then selling it. So you want to figure out, what the true value is.
Right. Because your residual value, and we had somebody here who had come to us and said, hey, what do you think the value of my car is? And the value of her car was $18,000. The residual value was $15,000. Mm-hmm. So she said, hey, why am I going to give them back this car?
Right.
I might as well keep it. She would have had to pay a disposition fee and the car was in great shape. So she actually bought the car and kept the car for a couple of years. And then, she decided she'd buy the car later. So they buy a new car later.
Yeah.
So you need to know your mileage charges, your allowed versus your actual.
The wear and tear, all your repair costs, what they're going to end up costing you.
Right.
Plus your disposition fee. So you want to add all that up. And if you have a low residual value and a high true value, the cost to purchase it is actually lower than you could sell it or trade it in for. So compared to what your total cost of mileage over overage fees, plus your wear and tear, and all of the repairs, you have to figure if that is a high number, then you want to keep the vehicle because you're buying it for low. Yeah. You have equity in it and you don't have to pay any fees if you keep it. So I also, if it's the same, I think if the value is the same,
you may want to keep it because you have equity in it and you're not going to pay the extra fees.
Right. Then you get out of the fee situation. So,
right.
And then if you do want to purchase your vehicle,
right, we can actually finance a car for you here as a used vehicle. And we'll finance 110% of the NADAguides.com retail value on it as a used car loan. And used auto rates are still pretty low. They start at like 3.99%. So it's a really good deal.
Yeah, so you can actually finance the lease. And you still avoid the fees.
Right.
Even with the finance. Yep. And no end of lease charges when you purchase. Now, if you have a high residual value and a low true value, no.
You might want to just turn that in because you don't want to deal with it.
Right. So if you want to purchase your lease after you find out all this information, definitely download the checklist. This will help you with all of that, and you can write everything down and thoroughly go over if it makes sense for you to keep it, or you can also use it as a trade, and then you can purchase another vehicle. And if you want to try to get pre-approved before your 60 or 90 days comes up to see if you do qualify for, a good rate to purchase it, then you can get pre-approved at hamiltonhorizons.org, and you apply for a secured loan and get yourself prepared, and then you could save money and you have equity in your vehicle, so it makes sense. You really should do that way in advance before it's time to turn it in.
When you're into that 60 to 90 day period, you're in the driver's seat at that point. You want to make sure that you've got everything, all your ducks in a row, and it just gives you a little bit of time. You can go to the dealer and say, hey, I want to schedule my inspection. They may try at that point to try and get you into a new vehicle right then and there. Right. And they're going to try and grab you right then and there. You want to know all of your information. You want to know that residual value, the value of your car, basically so you control the transaction. They love to take control of the transaction. The dealers are always, that's their job. They do this all the time, where you're only doing this, maybe 5 or 6 times in your lifetime you're switching over. They're doing it all the time. So they're really the experts. They're going to try and grab it and take control of the transaction. You want to have a little bit of control yourself. So
yeah, and I feel people who are rushed or wait till the last minute, well, then now you're jumping into another lease. You don't even know if that's the best
situation for you.
Because you have to really see how many miles you drove and how much you had to pay out, and it may not make sense, and you may be leaving money on the table as well. So you
want to make a logical decision, not an emotional decision.
You should give yourself plenty of time, and we will help you. Even if it's not a good fit for you to finance it, we'll tell you that.
Right.
We're not going to just try to.
We want to make the best decision for our members, not necessarily. It may not be the best decision for the credit union or even for Lori, but we would rather help people and have you make the right decision. And down the road, it helps us in the long run.
Right. So. And if you do want to purchase a different vehicle,
and if you have equity, Lori's an independent certified auto broker appraiser. She can help you find a great vehicle that fits your lifestyle and budget. We work with Lori all the time. She charges a flat fee to find a car. She works with at the auction. She can find different cars for you. She'll be able to work with you individually and find the right car for you. She's worked with a number of our members. We're really pleased with her service. So, and that's why we do these webinars with her, and they're really for informational purposes. So.
Yeah, we will find the perfect car, for your budget. Again, it's important. So My contact information's down there, and you can click on my website or any social media platform.
So we're looking for questions to come in.
And here's Hamilton Horizons website. If you want to visit them, they have tons of information and helpful articles and everything on there to help you. And that's my website. And thank you so much for today. We're going to do some Q&A. So a couple questions. How do I know if I should lease another vehicle? Well, you really have to see the mileage is very important, because or are you clean? Do you keep your car neat and clean and organized? Do you work in the city? Is it going to get beat up? Do you have small children?
Yeah. Yeah, if you have small children, it's kind of hard to lease a vehicle because it's really hard to keep it clean.
Right.
And that's really important. As you saw what we were talking about here, even a detailer has a hard time keeping a car clean once the kids get to it.
Yeah.
How about, are you organized and do you keep good records? Obviously, you have to maintain the car at a certain level to turn it back in.
Yes. If you aren't any of those things, then
yeah. How disciplined are you in terms of the records? And do you want a newer car all the time? Are you willing to be disciplined, and are you willing to pay for that every couple of years through a lease? If you really, how do I know if I should lease a vehicle? You can figure out your miles and how disciplined you are. I will tell you, I had a lady that we worked with. This is going back about 2 years, and I'm actually good friends with her now. She, at the time that she got a lease, she was a stay-at-home mom who was going to school online, and she ended up getting a job an hour and a half commute from her home, and she was so far over in her miles that it was going to cost her $17,000 to get out of her lease. And she ended up, it was really a disaster. We really tried to help her out, and we ended up talking to the dealer for her. She ended up getting a friend of hers to go to the dealer with her and finally got her out of that lease. And it turned out that the car she had been recalled, and they ended up putting her into a new lease, telling her she was going to get out of the old lease. And they sent her a bill for the old lease. And then she actually had to go to New Jersey Consumer Affairs. They wouldn't give her back the old car when she wanted to get out of the new lease. It was just one disaster after another. And they finally gave her back. They put her in a new car, eliminated the old lease bill because of the recall on the car. And there was, it's just one thing after another. You really have to be careful when you get into it, and you kind of have to know your situation, where you're going to be in 2 years or 3 years, because if your situation changes and you're going to be putting a ton of miles on the car, you really can't have a lease. And you can negotiate the number of miles on a lease, but typically they're looking for 12,000 miles a year. They're not looking for 15, 16, 17, 18,000 miles. You can get it sometimes, but you're going to pay for it.
And if you want to get out, that's a whole nother ball game, and you are going to pay heavily if you want to end a lease early. So, buying versus leasing, if you can always buy a slightly used vehicle and drive it for 3 years and sell it and buy another one, and you avoided all the depreciation.
Yeah.
And you can
that's always a better situation. That's a brand new vehicle. Average new vehicle costs over $33,000 and loses 19% of its value in the first year. But you can, like what we've seen with, like Lori's helped a couple of people here buy cars that are 2 or 3 years old. And so they're not quite as expensive. They're still nice. They're in great shape. They're
some are 80 point, still have the warranty.
Yeah, and you guys do an 80-point inspection. So they're great cars. And if you drive that car for 2 or 3 years, you can sell it at still a decent amount of equity in it, and then turn around and just buy a nice car again.
Yeah,
I think you guys have great high-end cars too.
Yeah. So. I that's my suggestion. A lease is for close to home. You know what you're doing.
Right. Working at home.
Clean, organized.
No kids.
Yeah. You don't travel far. If I told you how many cars I bought for people who have a lease and want a $2,000 car to drive back and forth to work so they don't go over their miles, we'd be here all day because it's constant. And the leased car sits in the driveway and they drive a beater back and forth to work.
I had the saddest story of a lady who she had that exact situation. She bought a car. Her lease was over on the miles. She knew it was going to cost her a lot of money. She still had 6 months left, and she bought a car for $300, and she had to put $1,200 into it to keep it running, so she'd have a car to drive and not continue to put miles on her lease car. And that just was, and she wasn't even driving to work. I mean, she was just driving around. So she had gone way over on her miles. So you really have to be careful and know what your miles are that you're going to drive.
And I know it's hard. It's so tempting, $129 a month and this and that, but you have to look at the money factor. The way they concoct a lease is pretty confusing. So, you should dissect the numbers and really
I think I'd have an attorney looking at that lease contract before I signed it.
And that's what it is. It's just so appealing.
And it's really in favor of the dealer.
Yeah.
I mean, they want that car to come back in spotless, ready to be resold as a
and they're going to make car. They're going to make the money on it when you return
that's
it.
Always.
Either way, wrecked or not. They're still you're going to pay or they're going to make the money from the next buyer. So
and what can I do if I'm over my miles? Probably not lease your next car.
Yeah.
And
really if it's
careful. You're going to buy it out probably.
Yeah.
So,
because if it's a luxury car, the miles per year are even less, and the percents over is even higher. So, you really have to read those contracts before you sign.
And the amount per mile is based on your contract, so that's different for every contract.
Yeah,
it could be 5 to 15 cents a mile. So
I've seen 25 cents.
Wow.
And
that would just be
if
crazy.
Nobody contests it, then
yeah. So you really have to read your contract up front. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about getting into a lease, know what you're getting into.
Right. No, look at the residual value, the disposition fee, and the mileage charges. That's
right up front.
Yeah, you want to concentrate on those three, and maybe you could negotiate at that point, but once you sign it, that's pretty much.
Let me see if there's any other questions.
Sealed deal. That. So,
see if we have any more questions.
No.
Okay.
No. So I hope we helped you today, and definitely download the checklist. I think it will help you. And you need to just get prepared a few months in advance, and I think you could really end up making money in the deal or saving yourself.
Yeah. And money. If you have any questions for us, our contact information is right on the presentation. We'd love to help you out.
We're here, Hamilton Horizons and Title Key Cash. So we hope to hear from you. Yes, we'll see you at the next webinar.
Thanks very much.
Bye, everybody.